Hello, guys. Welcome back to Gooner Pavilion. And this one is a big one. This is a biggie. Arsenal versus Liverpool at the Emirates, the game where Arsenal fans have been waiting for a long time. We have since August, we've been waiting for this game because that first defeat of the season came to us at Anfield, and it was a game that we weren't second best. It was a game that was decided by an out of this world free kick by supposed like that. I dare say that he will never score that kind of goal again. It was ridiculous. I think it was the Tour de France. That was it Roberto Carlos scored that goal that just curved all over the place.
Is amazing. Well, that was what was missing in Euro 96. That is
Guys in the comments, let me know which year was that, because I'm just doing that from memory. But listen, Arsenal responded after seeing Manchester City draw at Sunderland to win 3-2 at Bournemouth and go 7 points ahead of Man City. Hey, it's still January, doesn't mean a lot, but I think we stack those wins and we keep on going. That game against Bournemouth was a game that tested control, our nerves, maturity, and we got game winners, right? So let's get into this game, Arsenal versus preview, because yeah, this one's gonna be interesting. And when I looked at this game, there's some really interesting things to look at. So let's break it all down properly, like we always do. Arsenal versus Liverpool. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, let's just set the context, because you know how we do it. We talk about the road to 90, where this game fits into the road to 90. And this is the one of two. This is the gauntlet game. Arsenal at home against Liverpool. We've got Manchester City away as the two games in that bucket. And from these two games, Arsenal needs a minimum of 4 points. So this comes really early to settle the nerves. And if we do the business of what I think that we would do, I think that keeps us on track. That allows us to approach that Manchester City game with a different kind of mentality. So listen, at home against any team right now, we should be winning, right? We're unbeaten at home, and we've taken maximum points from pretty much every game except the game against Manchester City. That should give Arsenal confidence going into this game. We're arriving in this game with 48 points from 20 games. Momentum intact, and proof from that Bournemouth that we can survive pressure and still impose ourselves. But let's just look back, at that Anfield game, because it's important to kind of look back and just sort of think, what really happened in that game. So that game, if you could remember very well, Liverpool did not dominate Arsenal. In fact, Arsenal had more shots. Arsenal had the better XG. Liverpool had just 9 shots, their lowest at Anfield in years. Open play chances were minimal, and what decided it? It was a 15-minute spell after halftime and a free kick moment of brilliance, right? And that matters, right? Because, those are the easiest games to correct. Okay, so when I was looking at Liverpool, and yes, they've been awful this season. They've been losing to everyone, but they're still an elite team. And I think that the worst thing that Arsenal can do would be to underestimate Liverpool. They've been picking up better results recently, even though they drew in their last game, but that actually takes their unbeaten run to about seven games. So they're going to be feeling a lot more confident in themselves compared to where they were before Christmas, right? Liverpool are vulnerable in a couple of areas, right? In defensive transitions, they are vulnerable. Their press is ferocious. Their pass per defensive action is under 10. But once it's beaten, space opens behind their fullbacks. Anthony Robinson will probably be playing in this game. Jeremy Frimpong will probably come into this game, as well, or perhaps he might want to play the young boy at right back. But, I think that we can get at their center backs. You expect that Virgil van Dijk would have, one of his good games because it's playing against Arsenal. It's going to be physical, it's going to be robust in that game. So, and we can get at them, their recovery runs can become reactive. And teams are now targeting what comes after the press, not the press itself. Um, Set pieces and back the post defending. I've seen Liverpool concede quite a number of goals, from that. It's a recurring issue with them, especially on the side where Konate, defends. And if he's defending, the far post, expect us to attack that area of the pitch because they don't track he doesn't track particularly very well, static defending. And it's funny because in that game against Anfield, Konate probably played one of his best games that I've seen him play in a long time. But Liverpool can be vulnerable when they are forced to defend against structure. And recently, at least this season, they are less comfortable when the game is slowed down deliberately. Possession is recycled calmly. And that's where Arsenal can get a little bit of an edge. If we're controlling this game, we're controlling possession, I think that we can actually do damage, to this Liverpool game. But Liverpool is still very strong. They're still very firm. Let's be clear. They're not a weak side. And they're still top 4 in XG conceded. So they've actually cleaned up their defensive frailties in the last couple of games. They still control the ball. They still possess the ball quite a bit. So their possession is still quite there. And of course, they've got an elite goalkeeper. Allison has been, oftentimes been the difference between, Arsenal winning games when we play against Liverpool. He comes up with, saves after saves. And listen, with Liverpool being a good side, they're always capable of having one moment and scoring a goal. So Allison at the back is a huge, huge advantage for Liverpool. I think he's still one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And hey, Raya might have something to say about that, but you cannot look at Allison and think, he's probably the reason why their defensive solidity is restoring and has come back again, because they were really awful when he was injured. So it means that Arsenal can be emotional in this game. They have to be really surgical in terms of what they want to do if they want to win this game. Um, that 3-2 away at Bournemouth, we showed that we could absorb pressure, we could manage chaos, and that we've grown. So I think that's going to be important in this game at the Emirates. It's a midweek game, so I expect them to be lots of goals going into this one. I think for Arsenal, the key things that we've got to look at, Ødegaard didn't particularly enjoy his performance against Bournemouth. I don't know if he was thinking about Liverpool in his head, but Ødegaard has been in incredible form, and he's going to be needed in this game because in terms of his touches, key passes, and leading recoveries, I think he's very, very important to setting the rhythm against Liverpool. And then Zubimendi is going to be important. His role is going to be important in that midfield because you're going to have Gravenberch, McAllister in the middle of the pack, and he's going to have to do better than those two players. I think that Liverpool is going to set up, having those two guys at the base, and they're just going to ask their forward to just attack Arsenal, and just see what happens. The good thing for Arsenal is that, we've got a very, very strong bench. I expect Gakpo, Ekitike, to start this game, but it just means that, if those guys are starting, there's not really a lot of players to come off the bench and make the difference, for Liverpool. So I think that's going to be important. I think the bench is going to be important in this game in terms of how we win this. Look, Gabriel Jesus is fit. Will he start this game? I don't know. I don't know if this is the game for him. But I think he will play a critical role in this game for Arsenal. And then, of course, we've got Gabriel at the back. I think, it's been a long time we've gone into these big games with having a two centre-back pairing, and they make a huge difference. Gabriel's error aside against Bournemouth, I think he's going to be colossal in this game. Absolutely. So Trossard, I think, is going to be important in this game. I do always like Martinelli against Liverpool. But I think the fact that Martinelli started this game, it tells me that Trossard might actually be getting the nod against Liverpool. But I think there's more to see in this game. So how do Arsenal win this game? So I think there are 5 points that Arsenal we need to look at. One, we need to slow the tempo deliberately. We need to force Liverpool into static defending, attacking second phases, after passes are broken up, and then we've got to make a set piece count. Slot has been moaning and moaning about set pieces and how they concede them. I don't think this is the time that we take the night off, from set pieces. We need to force the corners early on. And I think that's one thing that Liverpool are going to try and do. Make sure that Arsenal don't get corners in the first couple of minutes in this game. You're going to see a deliberate attempt to do that because they know that if Arsenal get those corners in the first couple of minutes, it's going to set the nerves going, and that could actually let their heads drop if they do concede from a set piece, which Arsenal is more than capable of doing. So you're going to see them, playing to stop Arsenal from getting corners, and then just killing the momentum after that first Liverpool surge, because Liverpool are going to want to try and attack us immediately on. But Arsenal have just got to stop that. And listen, they're going to set up their midfield to make it look like they're going to play through the midfield. But I expect the balls are going to be more over the top, going to Ekitike, very, very quickly to try and see him running against, our defenders, especially in transition moments when Timber goes up or, Nkapie goes up. I really hope Calafiore is available for this game. But maybe this is a game for Miles Lewis-Skelly. I would love to see Miles Lewis-Skelly play this game. So if I think about my Arsenal 11 for this game, I expect Raya to be in goal, Timber right back, Saliba, Gabriel will play in the middle of the park. And, I would want to see Miles Lewis-Skelly play left back, but it seems like Nkapie might be the one that gets the nod, or it could be Calafiore coming back. Depends, because there's a bit of time to see if he's back in the squad. And then in the middle of the park, I expect Rice and Zubimendi to play there. And then you want to see Ødegaard. A shame for Eze, because this was a missed opportunity to play Eze against Bournemouth. But be that as it may, Ødegaard is going to start this game. You're going to have Trossard, you're going to have Saka, and then I think you're going to have Gyökeres, up front. I think Mikel Arteta continues to persevere with Gyökeres, no matter what people are saying, because I think that he does set the tempo for Arsenal, especially in the early parts of the game. And he does more stuff, in terms of, when it comes to helping with defending and things like that, and just kind of putting something into the minds of the defenders. Yes, I know that's not what Arsenal want him to do. That's not what we bought him to do. But I just think that, it's only the second half of the season. So we just keep wanting to get that duck broken. And maybe that dam breaks, against Liverpool, and what confidence that would give him if he scores against Liverpool and maybe go on a run. So if Arsenal can do that, we can turn that Liverpool press into frustration. We can dry up their transitions, and we can make chaos work against them. Listen, if Arsenal win this game, it's gonna be huge, absolutely huge. This is one game that Man City are gonna be looking at and saying, let's see what Arsenal do here, because I expect Man City to beat Chelsea. So I'm actually recording this before the Man City Chelsea game, because next week is going to be really hectic getting back to work. So I wanted to try and get this preview early on. So, but yeah, I expect Man City to win that, and then Arsenal just needs to respond against Liverpool, and that's what January is going to look like, guys. It's going to be about Arsenal responding either to what Man City has done, or just responding just based on what the opposition is doing in every single game. So at Anfield, Liverpool won the moment, but at Emirates, we're petty. We're on a hunt. We're on a mission. Those teams that have taken points on Arsenal would turn on the style. I'll tell you that in this game. And this game could be really interesting. I'm going to go with a 3-1 for Arsenal. I know it sounds like it's very big, but I've got quite a huge confidence in this game, especially at home. The way that we're playing, I think we can do this, guys. But don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, guys. Put in your comments as well. Let me know what you think. Put your prediction. What do you think about that game at the Emirates? Are you as confident as I am going into that game, or do you think it's going to be another nervy one? But either one, enjoy the start of the week. A lot of us, starting work again, taking some time off. If you haven't, and starting the 2026, let's hope that it's a very good week for all of us. And we're getting to the end of the week with a smile on our face because of an Arsenal victory. So until the next one, guys, we'll see you. Have a good one.